Exit tight end, enter speedy wideout. Which one will have a bigger impact on the New England Patriots game plan as they prep for Week 5 against the Detroit Lions? Stay tuned. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriot coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so please smash that subscribe button and download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Follow me on Twitter. Let me know what's on your mind at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. As you can see, folks, it is the midpoint of the week. And what better way to get some midweek wisdom and counsel than to welcome in the mediator herself, the principal of positivity, the illustrious Clare, ClazzyClare Cooper, is going to hop in here in just a moment. But remember, folks, today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Pats fans, as we continue to sift through the rubble of the Patriots' 27-24 overtime loss to the Green Bay Packers in Week 4, a sharp eye has already turned to another NFC foe, this time the Detroit Lions, coming into Foxborough and taking on the New England Patriots this coming Sunday, October 9th at Gillette Stadium. But there are plenty of concerns, and a lot of those concerns, folks, have to do with injury. And yes, we are going to talk about the quarterback situation in just a moment. But first, there is a potential injury to a key tight end that might have implications not only for this week's matchup, but also the Patriots' offensive game planning going forward. And when we're talking tight endage, we are not only contractually obligated, but we are honored and privileged to welcome the Empress of tight endage herself, Miss Clare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda, and also the host of her very own Patriots podcast, A Clare Perspective, a Patriots podcast. Countess, thank you for joining us today from across the pond. And of course, we're talking about the injury to Jonnu Smith. Your expertise is very much needed in this situation because fan base right now is very up in arms about the tight endage usage. We're hearing bust being thrown around. We're hearing fish out of water thrown around. We're also hearing that, maybe there's a situation where if Jonnu is injured and has to miss some time on the field, that may end up aiding the Patriots in getting the tight ended situation back on track and being able to reset. You always have a sharp eye on this situation. What's your take right now? Because we don't know the severity of Jonnu's issue. He did leave the game on Sunday. No one has talked or had any type of meaningful information regarding it. So what is your take on the situation right now? And what do you think it means for the tight endage situation moving forward?
Well, as you quite rightly said, as we record this on Wednesday, the 5th of October, in the morning over in the East Coast, in the afternoon for myself, we don't really have any further information in regards to Jonnu's ankle injury. That's really sort of all we're looking at. There's been speculation. There's been kind of rumor of if it's a high ankle strain, that kind of thing. And that could mean the lengthy out, because as you mentioned, the whole Mac Jones thing. So right now, we don't really know the severity, so we don't know the length of absence that we're going to be seeing from Jonnu Smith. Now, that said, I'm not too sure how much his absence will impact the way that they've been game planning in regards to the tight end, because as we've seen, as many fans have seen over these last 4 weeks, the usage of the tight end hasn't been very significant. They've been utilizing the guys for blocking, which isn't really kind of Jonnu and Hunter's strong suit. They're not there to block, whilst, part of Hunter's job is blocking, and he does that, reasonably well. So it's now becoming a significant part of his skill set required in the game. And that's not really how the NFL, the game itself, has evolved to use the tight end, that kind of thing. So there's the part of me, like many fans, that's kind of sitting there very kind of, why are we doing this? Also, why are they doing this? Sorry, Freudian slip again. Why are the Patriots doing this? We saw such good stuff from Mac Jones to Hunter Henry last year, 9 touchdowns and this kind of thing. His production was great. It just feels like, in all fairness, for both of those positions, I know we're discussing tight ends now, we're not discussing Mac, but for both of those players, for Mac Jones and Hunter Henry, year 2 seems to have been a year 2 regression, and that is something that is at the back of my mind with a concern. But with obviously Mac out for an injury, it's not something that we can address at this stage. Now, in regards to Jonnu's absence, as I mentioned, I'm not sure how impactful it will be. Now, the other thing to take into consideration, how much it could impact, depends upon who they utilize at quarterback with the absence of Mac Jones. Because using the veteran tight end, the veteran quarterback, tight ends on brain, the veteran quarterback in Brian Hoyer is going to stand behind an offensive line a lot differently than the immediate rookie of Bailey Zappi. Now, Zappi is going to be in a situation where he kind of wants to get the ball away quickly, hand it off quickly. He's still learning. We know this. He's still green when it comes to that. So this is something else that needs to be taken into consideration when you look at how it could impact, how his absence could impact. It's going to be who they're going to use. And at this point, we don't know, with Brian Hoyer out with the concussion protocol, the head injury, that kind of thing. So we don't really know as of yet, as of Wednesday, who's going to be in on Sunday against the Lions, to really see how we can predict how different it's going to be in regards to using the tight ends. There's also still time for them to bring someone else in, or for them to bump up the likes of Matt Sokol. I know there's Scotty Washington on the roster as well, but he is more of a wide receiver / tight end. So because they've been utilizing the tight end significantly in blocking stages, personally, my personal Clare perspective of it is I don't see them bumping at Washington, because he isn't really going to fit in the role significantly. Now, they lined up using Marcus Cannon as the 6th lineman. So again, it sort of trends towards the necessity of blocking, particularly when you've got the likes of Bailey Zappi in. So that would really instigate to me that if they're going to use another tight end, if they're going to move one up to replace Jonnu in his injury absence, depending on what it is it going to be more like the likes of Matt Sokol, who's much more of a blocker? Yes, he's not the most dynamic of playmakers, that sort of thing, but he's reasonably solid blocking tight end. As you said, hand in the dirt, wide tight end, similar to the sort of Hunter Henry role. So it, as I said, not to repeat myself, it's really going to depend on who's going to be at center and how significant the impact that's going to be. It's the one thing with Jonnu Smith is he's a bit of a puzzle for defensive coordinators. So because of his athletic ability, he is someone that when he's in there, you don't quite know what role he's going to take. You don't know if it's going to be a handoff. You don't know if he's going to be a playmaker. Is he going to be in that kind of a little bit of a fallback role-ish that he's going to utilize? So he's somebody that's in there that's making defenses having to think. So when you haven't got that tight end in there, you're being a little bit more obvious when it comes to possibly offensive playmaking. Now, play calling. Now, with Zappi in, that's going to be a little bit obvious anyway, because there's a good chance that they're going to reduce the amount of sort of different plays that they make, because he's still learning the playbook, because he's still a rookie. So again, it ties back to, if you're going to have the seasoned veteran who's been in the Patriot system for so long, or are you going to have the brand new rookie who is still learning, that kind of thing? He probably knows about as many play calls for a Post-it note rather than, the whole big flappy thing that they have on their arm. So it's a lot of ifs and buts at the moment. So it's just one of those. You just hope that he's not going to be out for long. You hope that they've got a bit of a backup plan. I think I'll be disappointed if they do nothing if we just see that Jonnu's going to be out for several weeks and they don't bump anyone up, they don't move on, they stick another wide receiver in there. I know we're going to touch upon wide receivers in a little bit anyway, so I won't kind of meld into that too much. But yeah, I as personally, because of my tight end enthusiasm, I hope that they've got some backup plans in place, and I hope that they're a little bit effective. But unfortunately, it just hasn't seemed to have been the way at the moment with the tight ended. So it's, maybe we're going to have to look at 2022 as not much of a season of tight ended, I guess.
Yeah, I think you make an interesting point, and I'm glad that you've mentioned the wide receivers because, yes, folks, we are going to segue into that topic in just a moment. But you mentioned possible replacements for Jonnu, and this is only if he's going to miss any time, folks. Right now, it might be a moot point.
Sure.
He may show up on Wednesday and be out there and be able to move around and maybe be limited participant in practice, but this may end up being a moot point by Sunday. But I agree with you. I think right now Scotty Washington is probably not the answer in terms of bumping up. If you're going to elevate someone from the practice squad, I do believe it would be Matt Sokol. 4 passes caught, 24 yards in the preseason, former Detroit Lion, knows Matt Patricia and knows the situation where the Detroit Lions may try to do certain things. He knows certain guys on that team. So there are elements that would favor Matt Sokol getting the call up in this situation. Don't forget, the Patriots have some very prominent players on the practice squad that they could use the assistance of this weekend. Garrett Gilbert, newly signed backup quarterback. If Brian Hoyer and Mac Jones are unable to go, Garrett Gilbert is a must. You have to elevate him. Jamie Collins Sr. coming back and being a presence in that linebacking core. And you mentioned Marcus Cannon lining up at the jumbo tight end. You mentioned him coming in and really, I think, doing a great job of anchoring and stabilizing that offensive line. So there's a lot of call-ups, and the Patriots are only able to make 2. So if they do at the maximum, so if they do that, they have to keep all of that and take that under advisement. So I think if they do decide to add some tight endage, it would be Sokol in this situation. Don't forget, they also have little Jordan Humphrey over there as well that can take some snaps. He's been lining up as a blocking tight end a little bit, not necessarily the pass catching threat that we all thought he would be in that role, but that's an option as well. Patriots fans, it's always fun talking tight endage with the Empress of tight endage herself, but it is not limited to that when she visits the program, and we will discuss another potential addition to the Patriots offense this weekend, and this is something you've all been waiting for. That's right, folks. Tyquan Thornton has a chance to suit up, and we're going to talk about that chance in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, as you continue to gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. And here's the best part, folks. They help you do it for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to. They help you do it faster. Folks, did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Patriots fans, the illustrious Clare, ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and her very own podcast, the Clare Perspective of Patriots podcast, joins me here today. And Claire, we talked a little bit about the potential void at tight end that the New England Patriots might be feeling for the next week or so if Jonnu Smith is indeed unable to go. But one of the good pieces of news coming out of the Patriots offensive camp this week is that old friend, rookie wide receiver. You got me doing it now. That's it. You got me doing it now, folks. Now, all kidding aside, I'm not going to blame my ineptitudes on Claire. That is not right. I will not do that. Oh, yes, I will, but she won't be here when I do it later. No, I'm kidding, Claire. Rookie wide receiver Tyquan Thornton is now eligible to come off of IR. Of course, we all know he was placed on injured reserve, fractured clavicle to begin the season. He can begin practice as soon as Wednesday, today. Claire, I know that the public is clamoring for Tyquan Thornton and his speed to come in and help fix whatever woes the Patriots offense has right now. It's tough to say that a rookie wide receiver is going to come in and have that type of an impact, but I watched this kid during preseason. I watched him during practices. I watched him during training camp. The one thing that really surprised me about Tyquan was his ability to pick up the playbook right away. This kid's a more nuanced route runner than I gave him credit for, and he can move. And in a New England Patriots offense, that's not an easy thing to do. He could have an impact as soon as the first time he takes the field. But when you look at Tyquan Thornton's ability to come back, you look at how the Patriots wide receiver core is built right now and their quarterback situation. Do you believe that the New England Patriots may give us the opportunity to get a look at him this week? Or is this a situation where it's better off erring on the side of caution, considering everything else that's going on right now as well?
Well, that's the point. That's the very point that I was going to make, is in regards to how everything seems to be very intense when it comes to dealing with injury at the moment. Quite rightly so, really, because we're all talking about the concussion injury, the head injury to Tua last week against the Bengals, that sort of thing. So it would seem that there is this air of caution that's increased in regards to the NFL. Now, Bill did say, and I don't want to misquote him, so I am paraphrasing now, how that he kind of never utilizes Patriots players before that they're ready, sort of thing. So the one thing to remember is the fact that just because he can come back doesn't mean he's fully 100% to come back. So there's always that element of, yes, he might be at practice. Yes, he might be starting to warm up, to work out, that kind of thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he's in the right place, ready to return to the field, ready to return to the impact that the game is in playing. So there's always that element of, fans, don't get your hopes up too soon, because it might be that they're not going to utilize him just yet. They want to make sure that he's okay, quite rightly so. So there is the element of that. On the flip side, as you said, and as we talked about before in regards to the tight ends, is the significance of the offense that is run under dependent upon which quarterback is in there. As you mentioned, they'd signed Gilbert as well. So there's another veteran, but, you know, is Hoyer ready to be back? Are they going to roll further with Zappi to give him some more experience? These are all ifs and buts that we don't know. And like I said before, in regards to the impact on the tight end, it's again going to make, I think it's going to make a difference with who is at center, as they like to say, in regard to the quarterback, as to how much they would utilize Thornton, how much of an impact he could make. Because if you've got a quarterback that isn't airing it out, if you've got a quarterback that's having to dump it off very quickly, that sort of thing, a really speedy guy isn't going to make any difference if the ball's already been handed off to someone else. Right. So I think a lot of it is going to be to do with how comfortable they're feeling to kind of, how do they say, let him cook, let Zappi go out there and cook and kind of air the ball out and throw it, because we know that he's got a reasonable arm. So I know that that's one thing that he's out there for. So having himself a speedy wide receiver that gets open quickly so that he can get the ball out quickly to him could be one positive. But again, it's about confidence and it's about experience and things like that. So it's going to make a lot of difference, as we already said, as to which quarterback's going to be in there. The other thing, like you mentioned, is the wide receiver room is pretty stacked at the moment. And we're kind of calling for more usage of Kendrick Bourne. You can't have more usage of everybody. That's true. Some point, you've kind of got to be resigned to the fact that some of these guys are drawing coverage and some of these guys are there to catch passes, that kind of thing. And if you haven't got a quarterback in that's really going to air it out, again, you're not going to see the major usage of those guys that can get out, that can get open, and that can get far down the field. So it's all sort of a bit of a wonder, really, because it all depends on who's going to be in. I mean, Gilbert hasn't been on the Patriots for a while, so you know what we're going to see from him. Is he going to be a bit rusty? Are they just going to use him as a kind of more of a dump off kind of run kind of thing? So yeah, it kind of comes back to, as it usually does, comes back to the quarterback. So as much as it'd be great to see Thornton out there, because yeah, we want to see this kid, we want to see what he's got. it depends upon if he's 100%, if he's ready to go, if they're comfortable putting him out there at this point in his sort of recovery, if you like, if he is better, if he's better, I say better, you kind of get where I'm going with that. And if really, like you said, if it's a usage of his skills, or will it be worth giving him one more week of rest if they're not going to use a quarterback who can utilize? But again, you can't utilize him if he's not out there, and you can't get your quarterback used to using him if he's not out there. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 in regards to that. But again, we're all sitting here waiting just to see who they're going to suit up at the quarterback position.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on in terms of your analysis. And I'm in complete agreement. Look, there is an argument to be made about doing something because you can, and then there's an argument to do something because you should. And I think in a lot of ways, that to me is right now I don't want to say the dilemma that the Patriots are facing, because obviously bringing someone with Tyquan's abilities, his electric nature of the way he plays football, bringing those guys back is something that is definitely a good thing for the New England Patriots. And look, I know the fans they want to see the speed. They want to see that ability to create separation. It's not something you usually get from Patriots wide receivers. So the oohs and the ahs come out when you see someone like Tyquan Thornton. And again, watching him in the preseason, everybody pretty much had their eyes on him, and they really were watching him closely. But I think in a lot of ways they saw what they were looking to see, and we even saw more, like I mentioned, about his route running capabilities and his ability to incorporate himself into the offense. Big time boom for the New England Patriots to get Tyquan Thornton back, but you worry about future durability as well. You want to make sure that he's taken along slow. He knows his assignments, he knows what he needs to do, and bring him along as well. Ross Douglas, the assistant wide receivers coach, spoke with the media yesterday, and we asked him about Tyquan, and he said that he's locked in. He's doing everything that he needs to do, but at the same time, a lot of this is all mental preparation. We're going to have to see what he looks like physically when he gets on the field. And there's no guarantee you're going to see him on Wednesday, folks, as well. Everyone's assuming he's in on Wednesday. He'll be in the lineup on Sunday. Doesn't quite work like that, does it, Claire?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does not. But when he does return to the field, folks, you will see an electric talent. And I do have a lot of faith and still a lot of excitement being able to watch what Tyquan Thornton is going to be able to bring to this team. But ultimately, Claire, it's a game, it's a team game, and the New England Patriots will need a complete effort on both sides of the ball to be able to take it to the Detroit Lions, who the Patriots will host at Gillette Stadium this coming Sunday, October 9th. And Claire, I don't know about you, but I am looking forward to seeing those white helmets and red jerseys back. Pat Patriot will be back in the house. The vintage uniforms, I love them. I know a lot of you people love them. Some not so big fans. I am a little surprised that there are some that don't like the old uniforms, but everyone has a right to their opinion. Regardless of what, folks, the Patriots will be back at Gillette, and the Lions will be there next up in the rotation. We're going to take a quick early look at the Lions when we return, and the Countess of Claz herself will provide us with any parting thoughts that she has, whether it be on Jonnu Smith, Tyquan Thornton, or just anything related to the Detroit Lions when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, wanted to take a little moment to just introduce you, or if you're not to be introduced, to give you a little more information on our good friends at betonline.net, your number one source for all of your sports betting and football betting info this season. Find all of the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, in-depth articles, analysis on every game you can find, and so much more. BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sport wagering information, including live betting and up-to-the-minute scoring for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check on all of your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and golf, is with our good friends at BetOnline. So head over to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline.net. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Patriots fans, the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper joins me here today, as she does each and every Wednesday, bringing the midweek wisdom and counsel the way only she can. And Claire, we've talked a little bit about potential offensive weapons being taken away from the Patriots. We've talked about a potential offensive weapon being adding back into the Patriots repertoire. But bottom line, This New England Patriots team is 1-3, and it's not where a lot of the fan base hoped they would be at this time, but you started to see seedlings of this team be able to put together a solid effort on both sides of the ball. Nearly came away with a victory on Sunday against a very tough Packers team in a hostile environment. This week, the Detroit Lions come into town, and the Detroit Lions have typically been a team that hasn't necessarily excelled all that much in the last decade or so. Really, I think more than that. Probably Lions fans are screaming at the screen right now, going, it's been a lot longer than that. But they have surprised some people this year with their ability to move the ball on offense. One thing they haven't been is a defensive standout team. This team has struggled on the defensive side of the ball. They are ranked 30th in rush defense. They are ranked 30th in pass defense. Total defense all along, they are ranked 32nd. So Detroit right now is a team that you can move the ball against. But we know that the New England Patriots have had their offensive woes as well. I know you've looked into your clairvoyance. I like that. You've looked into your clairvoyant powers, and you've tried to look into the future to see what the Detroit Lions bring to the table. When you're looking at the game like this, what are your early thoughts? See, I've done it again, folks. What are your early thoughts on the Detroit Lions? How do you see this one shaping up in Foxborough on Sunday?
Well, this is another one that's got the potential to be really crazy, isn't it? I mean, just to touch on some of the stats that I know you just threw out and all correct. The one thing that really sort of shocked me, the one that got me, was the one that I found on PFF. So it was that the Detroit Lions are leading the league in points scored and points allowed, literally, because they have scored 140 points. But they have allowed 141. To me, that's the most crazy statistic that you can see. How it shows such a flip side of a team it's just phenomenal. So to me, it's expect the unexpected. Yeah, we know that they've got some positivity on offense. We know that they can score. Lots. They can, they've got capable running backs, a good tight end in Hawkinson. So it's one of those that the Patriots need to shorten their pass game and they need to exploit the defensive weaknesses. Now, the one thing that gives me confidence is, although the last 4 games, it hasn't been an even keel on the defense, we know that the defense is really quite good. My opinion, the defense is really quite good. They've brought back a veteran linebacker, as you mentioned, Jamie Collins. I'm a little bit perturbed as to to me, it's like, that isn't where I'd add anything at the moment because of what we talked about, quarterbacks, tight ends. That's where it feels the need to add, in all fairness. But I'm not a coach, so, but to me, looking at this defense, they've got some really good strengths. And I think if the Patriots can just utilize the strengths, they know that they are there. If they can utilize these strengths against the Lions, I think that they can be on a winning roll. However, it's going to be a bit of a slugfest because, like a lot of the games that the Lions have played, just looking at my numbers, I mean, their wins, they've been, the numbers that have been put up, well, obviously it's significant. So you're looking at high scoring games they lost 38-35 against the Eagles, won 36-27 against Washington, lost 24-28 at the Vikings. So, it was slight, and 45-48 the Seahawks. So, they're close games and they're slugfest games with points being thrown all over the place. So I think it's going to be a lot of, can the offense bring it together to match them in scoring the points? And if not, it's going to be very significant for the defense to keep them from scoring these significant points. So a bit of a kind of a match off in regards to the defense needs to at least be strong enough to prevent them scoring points. Right. And if they can't, we have the offense that needs to be scoring the points, or vice versa. If the offense isn't out there scoring points, which is more likely what you're looking at the moment from the record that the Patriots have had recently, is it's going to be more on the shoulders of the defense to be there and to be the strength. And I've got to admit, from what we have seen, I am confident that if this is a game that ideally you need to win with your defense, I'm quite confident in the Patriots defense that they're capable of doing that. But again, I think it's one of those a little bit expect the unexpected, and we could be seeing some really significant numbers.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think in a lot of ways, what you want to do if you're the New England Patriots, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because like we've said, Detroit has struggled defensively. So offensively, the Patriots are going to try to move the ball as best they can. And I think that's
Hmm.
going to be their game plan there. Where you win this game, in my opinion, is defensive strategy. And you want to
Yeah.
make Detroit one dimensional. You want to take
Hmm.
away either their passing game or their running game. And one of the big reasons why I think they signed Jamie Collins over the weekend, or over the week, I should say, is because of the difficulty of the linebackers to be able to assist in the running game. We've had very good play, very solid play from Matthew Judon, Juwan Bentley. These guys are going out and pursuing, they're making tackles, but the speed in the middle of that linebacking core, whether it be Mac Wilson, Raekwon McMillan, hasn't necessarily gelled the way the Patriots had hoped. Put a lot of pressure on the defensive line against the Green Bay
Hmm.
Packers. And with Lawrence Guy already out, he didn't practice at all last week.
Yeah.
We're wondering if he's going to be able to give it a go this week. Hopefully, we'll get more when the Patriots take the practice fields very shortly, on Wednesday, and we'll see what they're able to do. But this has a real big tendency for the New England Patriots right now to have some difficulty there, especially the fact that Detroit is very adept at being able to run the ball. Now, I know DeAndre Swift's a little banged up right now. He's their feature back. If he doesn't go in this game, makes it a little bit easier. But Jamal Williams is no slouch either. He's averaging 4.5 yards per carry, 62 carries, 6 touchdowns there. So if Detroit wants to make things happen on the ground, Patriots have to be
Hmm.
well stacked to be able to stop the run, something they have not done well in the last 6 quarters, dating back to week 3 against the Ravens. They were gashed in the second half of that game. And really, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon were able to run all over the Patriots on Sunday with the Packers. They have to shore that up. They have to make the Lions one dimensional if they hope to get a
Hmm.
win on Sunday. So good stuff. We're already taking a close look at the Lions. We're taking a better and even closer look at the Lions as we do each and every week, because Locked On Crossover Thursday is happening shortly, folks. Locked On Crossover Thursday with Matt Deary of Locked On Lions will come at you tomorrow. In the meantime, I want to thank and give my gratitude, my honor, and my privilege for sharing the microphone with ClazzyClare Cooper today. Claire, it has not been easy to share the microphone with me today, in case you haven't noticed, folks. I am fighting a little bit of a cold, and it's definitely getting some fog in along with some difficulties in speaking, but you've been amazing, true trooper, and thank you so much for all of your contributions to Locked On Patriots. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can find you, what we can expect from the great pen, the great voice of ClazzyClare Cooper in the coming week.
Oh, well, thank you as always, Mike. And it really wasn't difficult. So, yeah, I hope you feel better soon. But yeah, it
Thank
wasn't
you.
a big deal. But yes, if you'd like to find me, patspropaganda.com. I am there each and every week with my game recap for your fun and your perusal. So I try and take a more positive spin on the game. It isn't all statistics. It is kind of like the eyeball test of, did you see this? You might see this, that kind of thing. So hopefully people enjoy it. So yeah, go over to patspropaganda.com. The day after every game usually, so it's usually a Monday recently, but yeah, after each and every game. You'll also find my t-shirts there as well. They're still available for maybe a limited time, we shall see. So yeah, if you fancy some t-shirts for the fall, go over to patspropaganda.com. As you mentioned, a Clare Perspective, a Patriots podcast by myself. So brought to you by fullpresscoverage.com. Last week's with Mike Giardi was a scream of fun. So if you haven't checked it out, I hope you do, because it was just
Please
a good
do.
laugh anyway. Hopefully I'm recording this week's episode very shortly. So please keep an eye out for that. And a little bit of sneaky peeky cheeky. Next week, I am hoping, all being well, to have a rather special guest on. So although all my guests are very special to me because they're all lovely, but yeah, I may be having a very special guest on for next week, but I'm keeping that under wraps until check on social media. You'll find out. So yeah, you'll find out. But yeah, so keep your sharp eyes on my Twitter for my special guest next week. And as always, One Patriots Place, brought to you by e2gsports.com, is there for you each and every week with myself, Steve Balistreri, and Thomas Murphy. So yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's the list. I'm not sure. There might be something missing, but go over to @ClazzyClare and you'll find out.
Folks, don't let her fool you. She does secure some of the greatest guests in the business, especially when it comes to New England Patriots media. But the special part of that show is right here. And I tell you that honestly,
thank
and
you.
you are definitely doing a phenomenal job. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to a Clare Perspective of Patriots podcast, don't delay. Do it today. You'll be a better Patriots fan. You'll be more informed and you'll be well entertained. What more can you ask for in the realm of sports media? So, Clare, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to share the microphone with you again next week, hopefully when I'm feeling a little bit better and a little bit more myself. But ultimately, folks, it always is an honor to come at you each and every day and bring you the very latest in New England Patriots news, notes, and analysis. And now that you've made us, Locked On Patriots, your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Peacock and Williamson. My good friend and colleague, Brian Peacock, along with former NFL scout Matt Williamson, bring you the latest updates on anything and everything NFL related. Peacock and Williamson, like Locked On Patriots, is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash, subscribe, download, whatever you need to do to get your podcast. Please be sure that you are staying locked in to all the great shows at the Locked On Podcast Network. Until tomorrow, Patriots faithful, please be sure to stay safe, stay well, be the change that you wish to see in the world. On behalf of the Empress of Tight Endage herself, Miss ClazzyClare Cooper, I'm Mike Debate. Have a great day, everyone.